I think it would be appropriate to start our little corner this edition in early November 2001 by quoting the great old poem, "The wind she blow on Lake Champlain and then she blow some more." It's a glorious day on the Burlington waterfront. A little bit of sunshine, and whatever leaves were left, I don't believe will still be on the tree limbs by nightfall. It's almost a gale here, and we came across on the Lake Champlain Transportation Company's ferry at about 10:35 this morning, and believe me, you could have done "Let's Twist Again" like we did last summer, one of those great early rock and roll songs, because the sea mist was really heavy, as were the waves rolling over the cars and the decks of the boats. But we are here for a very special reason today, because a ship that you're looking at right now, which is called the Spirit of Ethan Allen II, is soon to have its name changed to the Spirit of Plattsburgh. No doubt our viewers have heard the story, and by the time you see this, sometime in the future, perhaps the Spirit of Plattsburgh will be docked right down there where the good old Juniper has taken pictures and taken people out on Lake Champlain for years and years. One of the highlights of this trip today will be the fact that we are going out onto Lake Champlain to meet another ship, which is 40% bigger than this beautiful ship called the Ethan Allen II, and the name is the Spirit of Ethan Allen III. So these two beautiful large ships, which can accommodate up to 500 people apiece to tour Lake Champlain, will be plying both sides of the lake once again as part of what we call that great triangle of excellence between Quebec and Vermont and New York State, involving Mayor Peter Clavel from Burlington, who will be in attendance for a champagne brunch to celebrate this great marriage. And our own Mayor Dan Stewart from Plattsburgh will be on hand. We've seen some of the other dignitaries from the Plattsburgh Common Council who've already arrived, and in case you didn't notice, Calvin and I are here too for Hometown Cable, and we expect to have a real neat day in early November 2001 on Lake Champlain. And the sunshine is beaming in the windows on the bottom deck of the Spirit of Ethan Allen II, soon to be the Spirit of Plattsburgh, and another guy that's always beaming, my friend Jack Stewart, Councilman, City of Plattsburgh. Jackson, how are you?
Very good. Nice day today.
That's great. I mentioned to Jack when we came on the boat, it's a far cry from the hobbling he did a while ago when he had those Achilles tendons problems. They feel good now, Jack, right?
Oh, they feel excellent. That's a good thing to be over that. I hope that never happens again.
Have you ever been on this ship before?
I was on the first time they brought it to Plattsburgh, and I was very impressed on that trip. And I think this is a wonderful addition to the waterfront of Plattsburgh. It can only bring good things for us.
Isn't it nice to see things like this happen? My wife and I were on this ship a couple years ago on a dinner cruise, and I was very, very impressed. We had a wonderful time, never dreaming then that we'd have it docked down there.
Well, that was a big step for Plattsburgh, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do for the 21st century is to get that waterfront and get it back to the people. And a boat like this, I can envision a lot of things, weddings and proms and things like that being held on this boat, because this is a big enough boat to really have those kind of events on the beauty of the lake.
Our viewers may not be aware that this thing has 3 decks. 2 of the decks are enclosed, air-conditioned and heated. The other one's open. Might not be the perfect place today, but in the hot summertime on the 4th of July, that could be nice.
It's very impressive, I'll tell you, because you're inside. The dining facilities here are just like a restaurant, and the service was excellent the day I was on it, and I'm very impressed. I think that, the future of Plattsburgh, this is going to be one of our big drawing cards.
It should be nice now to have 2 of them, one that's 40% bigger than this, which we're going out to greet later on in this broadcast, and one operating on each side of the lake. That'll be kind of cool.
Well, I think that Lake Champlain is being found all over the nation. I think that, the beauty of this lake, I was impressed when they had the bass tournament scheduled, and they came, and then we were unfortunate. We lost it because of the situation that developed in New York. But
we know.
They're coming back. They were not going to be able to get us in the following year, and now they're coming back. They said they've never seen anything like this. They were so impressed with Lake Champlain. I think we're the jewel of America right now.
You've been in politics for how long in Plattsburgh?
I've been in since 1975 when I was first elected. It's a long time.
And even before that, on the radio, I was talking about Plattsburgh as a possible tourist destination. That's a phrase that we're reviving again. And we hope to make that come true, and I think this will be a piece of it.
Well, you know, the situation with Plattsburgh is going to only get better because we're located right on the middle of the East Coast between the two largest cities on the continent. And it's going to happen. We're seeing it now with the border, the situations that are developing on the border, that's only going to increase. And as it increases and the countries come together with the free trade and things like that, I think you're going to see a lot more utilization of the rural areas. The Adirondacks, I talked with people that all the houses are being bought up by people from New York. They're coming up. They found us.
Well, we've said for many years that we were a very well-kept secret, but I think we're about to let it out of the bag, don't you?
Oh, I think so too. And I think that Burlington has found us because I've heard that there's a number of people, because of the housing markets and the situations and the costs over here, that they're beginning to look at Plattsburgh with the ferry company working year-round and also 24 hours a day. It's beginning to happen. People are coming over and buying homes on the eastern shore of the lake, western shore.
But you know what? There's room for everybody. And this so-called triangle of excellence.
Don't believe the thing he says. He's a leftist liberal. Don't believe him. He's spending money.
Hey, my favorite Republican.
You'll get your chance. But this triangle of excellence is a good thing. Calvin and I and Hometown Cable have covered various aspects of that up in Canada, here in Vermont, and in Plattsburgh. And that can only be good for everybody.
You bet. The people in the Champlain Valley are very fortunate. I think the administrations between Peter Clavell and the city of Plattsburgh under Clyde and also under Danny have come together closely. And we've been working with a triangle of excellence with Canada. And that's been improving all the time. It's a great thing when we're coming together this way rather than hearing the things that we used to hear when I first started out.
For those of you that
we're working more as a group, and that can only be positive as far as the neighborhood and the area goes.
Also,
I think it's great, Jack. We won't try to compete anymore with a public address announcer. We want to make sure we know where the life preservers are if we need them. Have a great day. We'll chat with you later.
Well, I thank you very much. Very pleasant.
You've already seen half of his song and dance. That's about it for the act. Mayor Dan, how are you, buddy?
Very well, Gordy. How you doing?
This is going to be a fun day.
Oh, it's going to be great. Yeah, it's a little choppy out here, though, so I hope Jack has his life vest with him. But other than that, we're doing pretty good. It's going to be a great day. It's a great opportunity for Plattsburgh.
It is a good opportunity from Plattsburgh, and we can't underline that enough. We talked about this triangle of excellence. Mm-hmm. I quoted your recently revived phrase, Plattsburgh as a destination, as a tourist destination, and I believe this will be a big piece of that pie.
Well, I think so. You know, we're really moving along on many of the different aspects of waterfront development, and I'll tell you, in the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 hotel developers in looking at the rail yard property. So,
I heard about that.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Oh, the boat just moved. We also have a lot of other things going on, and we just sent over a letter today to Park asking them to sell the ROTC building for high-end condos for development there, and a lot of different things happening, but this boat coming in is one of the most important things that can happen. So many people in Plattsburgh and in our area do not have access to Lake Champlain. So how do you get access? Access can be by boats like this, and we can get people out on the lake. And I know that when I have visitors come into town and we're trying to encourage them to come in for a business in Plattsburgh, we'll have them on this boat for the luncheon to bring them around Lake Champlain. There's no better way to show our asset than to be out on the lake.
How's the cleanup of the waterfront coming?
Excellent. You should get some pictures of that later today because it's coming along very well. Looks great. We're going to have a new building put in there, some public restrooms. Water and sewer is going to go in and I guess put in some lines to the public restrooms, clean up that whole area and have public park place, down there. So that's going to be another great asset. The boat coming in, all of this started with the Naked Turtle. You have to give Sonny Spiegel credit.
You have to give him credit.
You have to give him credit. He had the guts to go in there to take the risk, and that's what we're looking for is risk takers. And now Mike Shea has the willingness to risk going into Plattsburgh and see whether or not this will work. I think it will.
Well, it holds 500 people, and we'll do our best to jam it full as many days of the week as we can.
Yeah, and you know, some of the companies locally, I guess GP's been inquiring, SUNY Plattsburgh's already signed on. You have all these different things happening. People are really excited about this. I'm excited about it. Mayor Clavel's excited about it because he gets a new boat. You know, I keep telling Peter, hey Pete, I'll take your hand-me-downs any day.
I wonder what the next competition is going to be between Clavel and you.
Well, I don't know, but you know something? If there's one thing that Peter has taught me since I became mayor, it's take the word competitive out and make it cooperative. And, you know, but we compete on the fishing tournaments and stuff like that. But, you know, for the whole picture, I think we're doing pretty good. We work well together along with Claude Béchamp up in Saint Jean, and we're doing good. We're very happy.
Yeah, we can't emphasize enough that triangle of excellence and what it means to be able to promote the entire Lake Champlain area.
Yeah.
As a wonderful entity. I mean, if our viewers today have never seen what Lake Champlain looks like, we're going to give you a real good view of it, and we hope you call all your friends in Oshkosh and Kalamazoo and say, hey, we got it, baby.
That's
Come
right.
on up and see us sometime.
We've got it. We have a class act going on here, and those that took the luncheon tour that we had the day of the vote that we were going to have now, and still I stand by my word, I did not plan the day of the tour to be the day of the vote. No one believes me on that. Wink, wink. And, you know, but we got the votes, and now we're waiting on some grant money, and this is going to be a great project. It's a great project for Plattsburgh. It's not using taxpayer dollars, which is great unless you want to consider your state tax dollar being the tax dollar being used, and then it's legitimate to say it is tax dollars, fine. But Plattsburgh deserves to use those tax dollars like all the other communities in the state that are capitalizing on waterfront opportunities. Plus, we just received an award from the governor for our waterfront access and what we've done on the waterfront. And this goes back to the previous administration with Mayor Rabideau and what we're trying to continue today.
You know, I hate to bring up anything negative on what should be a wonderful day, but our world situation is tenuous at best.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to remind any of our viewers what's happened over the last month or so. But part of the hue and cry of this great nation of ours is to, as individuals, as municipalities, to do what you can to make things better. And I think this is another step in that direction. Anything we can do to enhance the economy of our area has got to be good for the whole.
Yeah, September 11th will not stop this country. That's the bottom line. We need to get out there and do things, life as usual, just have an understanding we live in a different world. You know, the bombings that used to take place in Ireland, England, Jerusalem, you know, those are home now. We have that situation we have to deal with. However, our economy will not stop, our Canadian connection will not stop, our interaction on Lake Champlain with Burlington will not stop. We will survive, we will continue. We are a country of strong people, strong-willed people, and, you know, yeah, we're going to have some tough times because of September 11th in New York State. The money's not there. You know, we have taxation problems. There's a lot of problems. But on the other hand, we have the will and the strength to move forward, and that's what's important.
I think the byline for the year 2002 should be Discover Plattsburgh, Clinton County, in the Lake Champlain region, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And to co-market that with Burlington, with Saint Jean, to have this entire basin area. And I was just appointed by the governor to the Lake Champlain Steering Committee. So, you know, I'll be working with Peter Clavel on that committee, and we'll make sure that Plattsburgh and the whole basin area gets the recognition it needs, and I'll find out what my role is to play in that. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure I'll find some ways in which we can benefit.
Well, if the weatherman gives us a great summer next year, that'll be the icing on the cake,
Yeah,
won't it?
let's get some water in this lake, though. We're a little low right
Isn't
now.
it amazing? I noticed that driving across the sandbar.
Yeah, and driving across the ferry, just getting on the ferry. Usually, you know, used to going up a little bit. Now we're going down. So we need water.
It's feast or famine. How many times have we said, man, we don't want the lake to go any higher when it gets over 100 feet, and here we are now. But it'll change.
Oh yeah, it'll change. Everything changes. You know, Mother Nature will take care of it on a natural course, and we'll be okay. But this boat is coming to Plattsburgh. The people of Plattsburgh are going to be riding on this boat. I hope they're happy. I'm happy. I'm excited.
We should put a banner up when we pull into port there, and the first time on our side of the lake called Plattsburgh Has the Spirit.
There you go.
Ooh.
There's it. Plattsburgh has the spirit. All right. That's a good marketing tool. Good deal.
Look at that.
Gordy, do we have to pay you for that?
No, that's a freebie. Next time it costs you double. Mayor Dan, have a great
All
day.
right, thank you. I'm going to eat something now. All right. Thanks, Gordy.
We moved away a little bit from the Lake Champlain shoreline, but we got the boss with us today. Mike Shea, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much.
Is this an exciting moment for you?
We've been planning this for 3 years, and In about 20 minutes, we're going to be meeting the new Spirit of Ethan Allen 3. So yes, it's very, very exciting.
Now, let me tell me a little bit about your company. It's a good company. It's been around for a few years.
We're just finishing our 18th year of sailing out of Burlington. And we started in 1984 with our 149 passenger Spirit of Ethan Allen. And graduated to this boat here in 1995. And now we're getting our larger boat in about 20 minutes.
That's kind of exciting all by itself.
Yes, it is.
How that boat got up here?
Well, it was in Haddam, Connecticut, which is about 12 miles up the Connecticut River. We left October 3rd, almost a month ago, took it to Albany, and when you see the boat, we cut the third and second deck completely off the boat. Took us a month to cut it off, and then it'll take us about 2 months to put it back. So it's been a journey of about a month to bring it home.
Persistence pays off. I never would have guessed that boat would ever come up through the locks.
No,
when those locks were made back in the early 1800s, I don't think they foresaw this day in 2001. Do you?
No, I don't think they did either. It's a 43-foot tall boat trying to get under a 17-foot bridge. So it's quite a feat for us to cut a lot of that boat off.
You've had quite a bit of foresight over the years. You have to stick your neck on the line every time you run a business like this, and I imagine you feel as though your neck is out there about 1.5 yards now, but we have a good feeling about this whole thing on our side of the lake, and I bet you feel pretty confident, or you wouldn't have done it in the first place.
No, I wouldn't have, and I do feel very confident about Plattsburgh. I was a captain for Brockway Air from 1984 to 1991 when they went out of business as TW Express. So I understand Plattsburgh. I saw what it has gone through in, well, it's almost 17 years now, 18 years, excuse me. And it's a town that's rising and growing. Mayor Stewart has really revitalized the town. They understand what tourism is, the connection to a waterfront development. So I'm willing to stick my neck out. Plattsburgh's a good city, and we're ready to bring over the spirit of Plattsburgh.
I think the whole region will support you too. And we were just talking with the mayor and with Jack Stewart, who's a council person on our Council of Aldermen there in the city of Plattsburgh. And this triangle of excellence is a good thing to unite the three entities of Vermont, the New York State, and Canada for an overall promotion campaign. I think it's got to be good for everybody.
I think it is. If we understand we're promoting the region for tourism, people won't come to just one place. They want to come and enjoy Vermont, upstate New York, southern Canada. We have a lot to offer up here with tourism, beauty, serenity, peacefulness, all very important parts of our world today.
Mike, you're a poet, and you didn't know it. What can we expect for the rest of our trip today?
Well, I'm looking right now at the Spirit of Ethan Allen 3. She's coming right over the horizon right now. We're going to be greeting up with the Spirit of Ethan Allen 3. When we do, we're going to escort her into the harbor. We'll be having a ceremony shortly where the mayor of Burlington, Mayor Clavel, will pass the helm to the Spirit for the Spirit of Plattsburgh to the Mayor Stewart of Plattsburgh. So we're really excited about that.
I love it. Michael, thank you so much for inviting us here today, and the best of good fortune to you and everything you do in the future.
Okay, thank you. We'll be over there soon, Plattsburgh.
I love it.
So Mike, is that actually your boat out there? Right over there's the boat right there.
Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, congratulations. I thought we were putting it Lake Dunn. Rock Thunder is right there. Yeah, we're off the left. We were going to meet it there, but we were getting not kicked around over there, so they've been fighting stronger cars. They got up there in record time.
It really is. It's a strong breeze, but it's a beautiful breeze here today. What do you think?
Aye, Gory.
Hold on.
It reminds me of the time I was on a ship on the ocean, coming from the sands of Roninnish to the United States.
I'll tell you what, a couple of years ago, Calvin and I went out with our good friend Captain Frank Pabst, because we wanted to show our resident professors when they came here what the battleground was like.
Right.
And believe me, it turned out to be a battleground.
Oh, yeah.
My hair was frozen right straight up. Clinton County historian Addie Shields had a little plastic thing around her head. We all just about died, but it was a good experience.
That's really something that shouldn't be lost in the mix, is what Frank Pabst did for our city for 25 years.
I'm glad you brought that up.
You know, Frank Frank went through fires. He went through business troubles over the years trying to keep that thing afloat, and did a darn good job at it, and really supplied a much-needed thing on the shores of Plattsburgh. And through all the controversy of getting this approved and getting this boat to come over, there was some bad things said about Frank, and I think it was wrong. I think it was terribly wrong. We wouldn't have that anchor without Frank. We wouldn't have a lot of things in Plattsburgh without Frank. And he's an old carger with many different ways of saying things, and I won't repeat most of them on the air. But I'll tell you, I enjoyed working with Frank, and I really appreciate what he's done for the city of Plattsburgh. And I think he's a true symbol of a business person who made it work against all odds, and did a great job.
I agree with you, and to establish a wonderful historical pattern.
Yeah.
To bring our North Country and Lake Champlain history to thousands upon thousands of people, not just people like you and me, but visitors to the area who maybe came back because of what he had to say.
That's right.
And for all the thousands of school kids that took tours on his boat, and for all the special occasions we had when we were out on that boat, and some handshakes in the middle of Lake Champlain that were pretty neat in the past.
Yep, absolutely. And it won't be forgotten. And we'll make sure that he's remembered in many ways, in the city of Plattsburgh over the years. As we, I don't know, maybe we'll have to name something after Frank. We'll see.
We were thinking about that on the way over. Maybe the name would have to be hyphenated. He's trying to think what we can name after Frank Pabst.
Well, I'm not sure, but I had to come out and see how this Republican was weathering the storm out here.
Get over here.
Hey, Peter.
Get over here. Peter, how are you? Mayor Peter
From
Clavel.
Plattsburgh know enough to get out of the weather?
I just told him when we pull into port over there in Plattsburgh for the first time, we ought to have a big sign on deck that says Plattsburgh has the spirit.
That's good. I like that.
Peter, how are you today?
I'm doing fine.
This is kind of neat. Don't try to hold your lapels down. That's a
Right,
losing
right.
cause. This is great, isn't it?
This is a great boat. Served the city of Burlington well, and I'm real pleased it's going to continue to work for the people of Plattsburgh. You've got this wonderful boat. Look at what we've got coming, a barge. It's. They had a slight problem though. This boat is 54 feet tall, and they had to fit it under a 17-foot bridge. So I had to kind of.
Reminds me of an old joke that we won't tell here today. They did have to chop two of the decks off the top to get it under, because as we said before, when they built those locks back in the early part of the 19th century, they didn't anticipate that this bunch of crazy guys would be standing on the deck of the Ethan Allen II in the year 2001. But it's a good thing we're doing here today, and we better have a good time, because I think it's a forecast of good things to come. And as I said to Dan a few minutes ago, we got to get some good news in this world. There's too much bad news going on right
That's
now.
right. We got to remember to stop and pause and have a good time. There's a lot to be mourning, but we can't spend our life in.
We have a spectacular region here. It's like preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
We're all aware of what we've got around us, and I hope the camera can capture a little glimpse of what we have on this beautiful Lake Champlain, and we darn well better take advantage of it. And besides all of that, we better invite our neighbors to come and see us next summer. We want to make the 2002 the best tourist time we've ever had here in the Lake Champlain region.
I think it's going to be a great year, and I think already we're seeing it. Even though there's some economic problems, tourism's holding up quite well. But I think you ought to keep that camera focused on your mayor from Plattsburgh, because I heard he's going to drop his clothes, jump into the lake, and personally welcome the new boat into Vermont. He's going to swim to it.
I knew we came here for a reason.
Peter's always exaggerating the story. Come on.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Peter, thanks so much for all your hard work from your side of the lake. Have a great day and keep
Great.
smiling.
You have to.
You got to do it. Kind of interesting to take a look at what that boat looks like now without the top on it. It'll take a long time before it's completely restored and ready for operation on the Plattsburgh side of Lake Champlain in the year 2002. It looks a little sleeker coming through now, but it made it. It's all battened up for its long ride from Connecticut and back up through the locks. It's a amazing part of Lake Champlain history has to do with the canal system that was built early, almost 2 centuries ago, and how well it's worked for commerce here in the Lake Champlain region and for Canada, for the St. Lawrence Seaway, and for the world in general. So it's great to have it here today, that's for sure. There's the big wave. Fortunately, that warm wind is in the high 50s, probably close to 60 degrees today, huh?
Don't tell Peter, Gordy, but I think our boat's nicer than his right now.
I'm sure it is, as a matter of fact. But it'll be kind of spectacular once it gets finished, that's for sure. And I know a lot of people will wait in anticipation, because we could easily have snow on the ground by the time this program is viewed in the various cable systems across the North Country. But a lot of the people who came aboard today to be here for this, yes, I think you could call it an auspicious occasion, are making sure that they get outside to see what the wind and the storm's going to be like. Actually, it's sunnier now than it was when we left Plattsburgh a couple hours ago, and perhaps the weatherman just decided to give us a little, do I dare to say, mixed bag before we finish today.
Now, Gwendy told us that we're going to do this by Juniper Island, so I don't know if it's that bigger island in back of us or this little rock sticking out here, but it's probably appropriate that we're doing it by something called the Juniper Island, and considering what Frank Pabst has done over the years.
I think it is, and Frank Pabst knows that he's our dear friend. Captain Frank has been a friend of mine since I first came here in 1961, and Frank arrived a few years before I did, and he did do a great deal to set the stage for what is here today. People have to be groundbreakers, and if nothing else, Frank Pabst has been a groundbreaker over the years. Many of his wonderful ideas that were at times called harebrained schemes turned out to be very, very insightful forecasts in the future. And a lot of people didn't listen to Frank when he should have been listened to a long time ago. So I think it's appropriate that when these two wonderful boats change hands, and when the spirit of Ethan Allen II becomes the spirit of Plattsburgh, it's very important that we give Captain Frank Pabst the credit where credit is due. Because, boy, I talked to Mike Shea about putting his neck on the line. Captain Frank put his neck so far on the line. He was magnanimous. He did things for free. He helped people. He scoured the bottom of Lake Champlain. He taught an idiot like me how to scuba dive many, many years ago, and showed me some of the wonders that are on the bottom of this fantastic lake that we're on right at this moment. Not to mention the fact that he's a great storyteller and a good friend, and so we want to wish him well in whatever he does in the future. And I'm certain that Frank Pabst is not going to let any moss grow underneath his feet or that wonderful rotund belly of his for the rest of his lifetime, and we hope it's a long, long time. We hope you're enjoying what we're having for you in our little corner in the middle of Lake Champlain.
Bicycling, for mountain climbing, and I think more and more people are going to understand that this or that way you put.
Yeah, every once in a while we'll turn around, and although we've been on Lake Champlain many times, it's like coming back home to the mountains after a long trip. You look and it takes your breath away as we look at this fabulous shoreline. To think that there are people still out in pleasure boats at this time of the year, and here we are on the second day of November 2001. We have temperatures that will be probably in the 60s before this day is finished. Halloween was over a couple of nights ago. We had almost had a blue moon. We had a full moon actually on the first day of November. We had some northern lights about 2 weeks ago that lit up the sky and were just incredible. And if we don't get up in the morning and say a prayer of gratitude to whoever's running the show up there for what we have here in the North Country, then we're remiss. Just take a look at that beautiful shot. And I bet it was even more spectacular before many of the leaves fell off the trees. And as I said earlier in our show today, wouldn't be surprised if most of them are gone by later on tonight. So this is kind of an incredible situation. We're traveling alongside the Spirit of Ethan Allen 3, which is right to our right side. And we're traveling along together back to the dock, and then there'll be a bit of a champagne celebration to commemorate what's happening. And it's been very nice to speak with all the principals involved, from Mike Shea to the mayors of our two great cities to the other people who've helped to make this possible. But as always, I want to credit the folks who work behind the scenes. There are an awful lot of people who do the legwork and make the telephone calls and meet in rooms late at night to hammer out the logistics of getting something like this to happen. If you haven't taken a ride to the waterfront in Plattsburgh on the other side of the lake lately, do it, because it is getting cleaned up. There will be new buildings built, and by the spring of the year 2002, it'll be something we can all be tremendously proud of. I noticed to my right-hand side, right down here underneath the flagpole, is a lucky horseshoe from a very small horse, I might add. But that's why Calvin and I didn't get blown overboard today. We're glad to be here. I don't know about you.
First time I've seen it. We did a lot of cutting that 5 people have spent the last month cutting that up, and thank God we've had this great weather. But believe me, there are pictures. There are pictures on the table, and you can see what we do here, and give you an idea of what she's going to look like in about 2.5 to 3 months. We'll be doing all the work on the waterfront. Again, I'd like to welcome everybody, Mayor Clavel for joining us today, and Mayor Stewart from Plattsburgh. There's there we go. There's officials from Burlington, and also a nice contingency came over from Plattsburgh to witness today the sort of the passing of the helm. I'd like to thank Mayor Clavel. I owe a lot of my success for when Mayor Clavel was the CEDO director. In 1983, I came to his office and spoke to him, and he did all he could to help me get in business, and he continues to show support by helping us to bring the Spirit of Ethan Allen 3 to Burlington. So, Peter, you've always been a part of our success here, and thank you very much. Last year, I saw Mayor Stewart give a passionate plea on the on television about the waterfront, that he was interested in seeing Plattsburgh develop as a vibrant city. I spent 8 years as a captain with Brockway Airlines, and I commuted back and forth, so I got to know Plattsburgh, and I watched that very intently, Mayor Stewart, and you caught my attention. And it was almost 1 year ago that we met, you and I and Rosemary Spoonmaker, the CEDO director for the city of Plattsburgh. And your vision has enticed me to come over, and I believe in Plattsburgh. I think Plattsburgh is a city that's growing and is going to do very well, both under your leadership and under the citizens of Plattsburgh. So we're proud to be bringing this boat to Plattsburgh to be a part of the tourism community in Plattsburgh. But also, for those of you familiar, and so thank you, Mayor Stewart. Thank you very, very much. You know, a lot of times the officials are out trying to accomplish things, and they attend to a lot of meetings, and a lot of papers are pushed around, and this represents an accomplishment for what we're trying to achieve. There's a group called the Triangle of Excellence. It's the city of Burlington, the city of Plattsburgh, and St. John, Quebec. And just last week they had a summit meeting and to discuss what was going on with tourism and how we can make this a regional effort so we can attract people here regionally to enjoy this entire Lake Champlain, Adirondack, Green Mountain region.
And this is one of the pieces of it, is to have people come to this area and spend time, whether it be in Plattsburgh or in Burlington or up in Canada. We all have something unique where there's a lot of safety and tranquility, and it's why we all live up here. We choose to live here. So this is a component where we're going to have regional tourism. Our promotions that we're going to be gearing up, or have already geared up, will be to draw people to this entire Lake Champlain region. There's an effort by Senator Jeffords also to create a heritage corridor up here, and some other people are working very hard on that effort to make this a regional destination, and it's worthy of a regional destination. Lake Champlain, we picked up on Senator Leahy last year, 2 years ago, when he labeled it a great lake, and he is absolutely correct. And we're proud to be here. So this is a part of what is important for this region, is more tourism, because tourism is part of what makes this economy click, and it makes it work, and we feel like we're one of the cogs in that economy. Just to let you know what's going to happen, we'll be spending the next couple months putting this together. This will be ready for the Spirit of Ethan Allen 3. We're opening in April of 2002 at the Burlington Boathouse. The Spirit of Plattsburgh will be beginning operations. We'll be over there in April, ready for opening in May of 2002. The Mayor Stewart and the people from the Community and Economic Development Office, the city councilors, have all gone behind the mayor in his efforts to develop a waterfront, and we're going to be over there doing our part beginning in May of 2002. I'd like to have the mayors come over and say a few words. But there's one other person I'd like to thank here today, and they've been an inspiration to me, and a lot of you that have been around for a long time in this area know them. They were inspiration to me to push further and harder to develop the business, and that was my mother and father, Frank and Alberta Shea, right here. They encouraged me to keep going, and this is where it's taken us, and we're one of those small Vermont businesses where it's one day at a time, and that's how we operate, and we're proud to be here. So if we could have Mayor Clavel.
Thanks a lot, Mike, and congratulations to you. You really have made a commitment to this community and to this lake. Today in part's about symbolism, but it's much more than symbolism. I think what we're seeing today is connections being reestablished between Burlington and Plattsburgh. And I think we're seeing the emergence of a truly regional economy, particularly a regional tourist economy. And this lake for so many years has served as a barrier between our communities. I think now we're understanding that this lake is the connective tissue. It's a common bond. And we've got a great resource to share and to market to the world. And I do believe that not Burlington alone, nor Plattsburgh alone, but we as a region, the Lake Champlain region extending up to Quebec and the Richelieu River, will become a world-class destination for boating, for enjoying the outdoors, for tourism, for bicycling. And this is part of it. Certainly these boats form part of that connective tissue. So I think it's a great vision that we're working towards jointly, and we do share a great lake. We have a lot in common, a lot of history, a lot of cultural connections, emerging, revitalized economic connections. Now we're sharing a boat, the Spirit of Ethan Allen 2, which has served Burlington well, and I'm sure it's going to serve Plattsburgh well for many years to come. And I'm really excited that we have the Spirit of Ethan Allen 3 now entering Burlington Harbor. So thanks for your vision and your commitment to this community, and to everybody who's here. I know so many folks in this room today are committed towards making Burlington and Plattsburgh great communities and capitalizing on this great lake. It's actually not the Great Lake, it's the best lake. And I think that these boats are going to help people, both visitors as well as residents, use and enjoy these lakes. And I've always felt when people use and enjoy Lake Champlain, they'll be better stewards of this lake. So I think it's a great day. Mayor Stewart, come on up here. And he's never been bashful to say a few words. He promised me that he was going to jump in the lake before we redock, so you've got about 3 minutes to do so. But
all right, thank you. That's a nice aircraft carrier that you have there, Peter. I'm sure it will do very well in Burlington.
So we don't need it.
We send it to the Gulf if necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many times Rose Schoonmaker and I, Joe Abraham, the members of the LDC in Plattsburgh, wondered, can we do it? Is this really possible? Can Plattsburgh be able to step into this new realm of waterfront development and have such an operation as the Ethan Allen II transported over to Plattsburgh shores to operate out of that area? It was a long, hard struggle. We're moving along. Things are going great. We have the state of New York and the governor's office supporting us on this. It's just been a wonderful experience. I appreciate Mike sharing in the vision of Plattsburgh. It is truly appreciated, and it's very important for us to have entrepreneurs who will take a risk, who will try something new in another place and see if it works. We have one of our city councilors here today, Jack Stewart, who accompanied us, and I had to give Jack 3 body slams, 2 figure 4 leg locks, a couple rights and a couple lefts, but we got his vote. And and Jack has been supporting us very strongly on this, and I appreciate your support, Jack. You've been outstanding, as well as the City Council in Plattsburgh. I've told Peter before, I'll take his hand-me-downs any day, and if this boat is a hand-me-down, it's a first-class ship for us, and that's the way we look at it in Plattsburgh. We have great opportunities in Plattsburgh. We are growing. We have new adventures going on, and Mike Shea, thank you very, very much from the citizens of Plattsburgh and our Common Council for being a part of that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
If I could have Davis Bodette, is he right in the audience there? Where is he? Oh, Davis, right here. And if we could have the mayor of Plattsburgh and the mayor of Burlington, we're going to have a passing of the helm here, a nice photo opportunity for the mayor of Burlington, Peter Clavel, who's been so instrumental and a good friend to us, to pass the helm to Mayor Clavel, or to Mayor Stewart, excuse me. Congratulations, Mayor Stewart.
Your captain's license, please.
Mayor Stewart, next spring, you'll be at the ceremony as we christen the boat, the Spirit of Plattsburgh. Pepsi will be over there, one of your fine local establishments. We'll be supplying Pepsi products here. Davis Bodette, a member of the Burlington Business Association and his company Pepsi, work with us very closely here. So we're looking forward to putting our new name on this boat here, the Spirit of Plattsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the cruise. We'll be docking shortly.
Those are cardinal colors, aren't they, Lori?
They certainly are.
What's your last name?
Dumont.
Lori, thank you for welcoming us when we stepped on to the Spirit of Plattsburgh today.
You're welcome.
I remember you when you worked with our good friend Keith Tayo and for public relations at Plattsburgh State. When was that?
Tuesday was my last day, actually, so I was there for 7 years.
Were you really? Saw a lot of things change on that side of the lake.
Yes.
And now, how did you get connected with the Spirit of Plattsburgh?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. They came over to sell Plattsburgh State's alumni office opportunities to do cruises, and I jokingly said to them at the end of the meeting, if you need anybody to work for you at any time, give me a call. I love special events, and here I am.
So will this be a full-time thing with you?
Yes, it will. I start Monday in the office in Burlington. Trying to get trained, and then once the office is built in March, I'll move over to Plattsburgh.
So your main job will be marketing?
Sales, marketing, general manager. I'll be doing the hiring and supervising and all of that for cooks and wait staff and bartenders and all that stuff.
Isn't it neat to get in on the ground floor of an
certainly
operation like that? Sounds as exciting as this one is.
I'm really happy to be here.
How often do you think you'll get to ride on the boat?
Probably not very often, I don't think. Maybe at first I'll do it for a while, but we'll have some good people working there, I hope, and they'll be successful.
Had you been on it before?
No.
I realized when Calvin and I walked up to it, deja vu. Kay and I came on this for a dinner cruise and a big show. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember, but it sure does seem familiar, and it's going to be so much fun to have it on our side of the lake.
I think it's a great asset for Plattsburgh. It's really going to be fun. People are really looking forward to it. Everyone I talk to, my phone has been ringing off the hook at home from friends and people that I know that are excited to be part of Plattsburgh.
I think it'll be a good marriage for you. I think it'll be something that you can really get your teeth into, and I can tell you already have.
I'm really anxious. I want April to come quick.
And it will. For us older folks, it gets here way too quick. Lori, thanks so much for talking with us today, and good luck in everything you do.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to working with everyone in Plattsburgh.
Yeah, we're inside where it's not windy at all. As a matter of fact, it's really quite comfortable inside. One of the great beauties of the Spirit of Plattsburgh is that it does have 2 enclosed decks. So for this time of year, for the most part, it's great to be inside. In the summertime, those 2 enclosed decks will be air conditioned as well, and then there's an open deck up above on the 3rd deck. Now you can see the Spirit of Ethan Allen 3 as it pulls in now, but please don't think that's the way that boat will look ultimately. That'll be quite a ship, and it's I think they said 40% larger than the Spirit of Plattsburgh. So I'm sure they're proud to have that working here in the Burlington Harbor too. It's great to come over to this side of the lake. I'll be okay. Yeah, it's still windy out here, in case nobody told you that. Well, we're approaching the Burlington waterfront. It's amazing to see how the waterfront areas have grown in a different way and at a tremendously different pace on both sides of Lake Champlain. And the fact that was alluded to earlier in some of the speeches and has been talked about privately and publicly for many years is a so-called competition between the 2 sides of the lake for no perfectly good reason. It's not like this Lake Champlain has been any kind of a serious barrier to anything, including commerce and tourism. So this new spirit, a relatively new spirit, if you don't mind me using that word, of cooperation and collaboration, is something that pleases me tremendously, because I think there ought to be a great deal more about collaboration and cooperation in the world. And if we can form this tremendous network that we've mentioned so many times in our broadcast today to the benefit of all, how can that be anything but a win-win situation? To see our beautiful American flag flying on the stern of the Ethan Allen 3, blowing strongly in the wind. We think a lot about our American flag lately, don't we? For those of you who've been watching the World Series, you've seen the tattered flag that was brought from Ground Zero, the World Trade Center's disaster, and then I believe, Calvin will correct me if I'm wrong, that they found it after 3 days. It had been buried beneath the rubble and dust, and they've carried it to many of the funerals of people who died in that terrible tragedy on September 11th, and now it flies proudly over the World Series games in Yankee Stadium. And the pageantry that they've had during those games certainly makes us proud to be Americans, that's for sure. And as I was driving out on Cumberland Head today, I don't know if Calvin spotted it, but I saw a large silo where the farmer had somehow procured a huge flag, and he had it tied on the silo about 5 or 10 feet off the ground. And I almost felt like saluting and singing God Bless America as I drove by shortly after 10 o'clock this morning. So to use the word spirit, the spirit of Ethan Allen, tremendous figure in American history, and the spirit of Plattsburgh, and the spirit of our great nation, and I should say our great nations, because we'd be remiss if we didn't include Canada in all of our discussions about promoting this area. I think it's pretty terrific. So we're glad to be here today. The skies have actually cleared a little bit in spite of the fact that there was considerable amount of rain forecast. We're doing fine. We thought before we left you today we might try to give you the cook's tour of the boat, and Mike Shea has been gracious enough to tell us that he would perform those duties. So we're out in the back of the boat just kind of looking around, enjoying the sunshine. It's not nearly as breezy here as it was up front. I should use nautical terms, shouldn't I? Bow and stern, aft, and all that good stuff. Mike, this has been so much fun so far.
Well, good. Well, thank you. How would you like to go for a tour today?
I would love to do it. Where are we now?
Well, we're on the fantail, the aft fantail of the Admiral deck. It's as you come aboard the Spirit of Plattsburgh. We are now officially, as of today, the Spirit of Plattsburgh, although next May we'll be having christening ceremonies at our new dockside location in Plattsburgh.
I've got to say that I hope a lot of the people who've been on this boat before will come back to see it again under the new name.
I think
there have been some good times on this boat.
There's been a lot of good times over here, and Mr. Michael Sullivan right here. Come over here, Sully, if you would, please.
I can attest to that.
Hello, Michael.
After 6 years,
I've
yep.
had some good times on this boat myself.
You have.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's what it's for.
Sully is our head bartender here. He's been aboard
Well,
for
that
6
makes
years.
perfect sense to
Yeah.
me.
He's in charge of having a good time.
That's right.
Doesn't he look like a reincarnation of a firefighter from Boston, Massachusetts in 1872?
I would take that as a compliment. I would
That's
take
beautiful.
that as a compliment.
That's one of the best mustaches I've ever seen.
Another 20 years, it'll be great.
Now, I'm sure you recorded in your brain all of those conversations around the bar over the years.
Absolutely. They're in the memory bank. I might have you in there also.
Oh, well, that's very possible.
He won't tell.
No, that's all right. This has been a great day. This is a terrific day. That everybody seemed to have a good time. The weatherman held off on that rain we were supposed to have later on, and that's okay too.
That's a good omen.
You're dealing with two Irishmen right,
That's right.
here. We have a little blessing.
Yeah. There's a four-leaf clover up in the pilot house.
At least a little blessing.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to be here, and it's great to meet you. Are you going to be with us on the other side of the lake, or are you going to stay here in the new boat?
A little bit of both.
He'll end up over there. He knows this boat real well, and he'll go over there and show the people how to do it over there, and then come back over here.
I love it.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you there.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
What's
let's
next,
go for a
Michael?
tour.
All right, I'll follow you.
Okay, we're on the Admiral deck. This is our kitchen, onboard kitchen area. Excuse a little bit of the clutterness here right now. We just did the cruise, so the kitchen folks will be taking it off in just a few minutes, bringing it back into our kitchen, getting everything cleaned up.
How old is this boat?
This boat was built in 1986. It was actually built over in Toledo, Ohio, and by a company called Mercer Industries for an amusement park in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay.
And they went bankrupt, and we bought it from them, and have been here since 1995.
You're a man of opportunities, and you sure took advantage of that one. That's great.
We try to be smart here.
You got to be. You got to get up early some days, don't you, huh?
Coming inside the Admiral deck now. This is our lower deck snack bar. We're able to hold in our main dining area here, and again, excuse the mess. We just had our cruise here. We're able to hold 150 people in here. We serve everything banquet style aboard the Spirit of Plattsburgh. Come up here. We're able to host conferences, conventions, associations, trade meetings, company parties, weddings. They all come aboard to have a good time out on Lake Champlain during the summer. We'll go out on the forepeak now.
I got to remember all these names. Okay, on the forepeak, we're here.
This is the forepeak of the ship. People love this location right here. It has a nice feel. You can feel the waves. You can hear the waves. Sometimes you can feel the waves as we.
Yeah, today we can feel it.
Today we did. We took a splash or two, so we can. It's a good gathering spot. People love to sit out here. Families, couples, business associates, and talk and enjoy themselves. It's a real sense where you can really feel that you're out on Lake Champlain.
That's great.
Let's go. We'll be going up to our second deck, and then I'll finally working our way up to our sky deck.
All right, let's do that. Through. All right, let's
Okay.
walk and talk, Michael. Go right ahead.
We're going to go up now, up to the horizon deck, which is the second deck of the boat.
Yep.
This is what we call the aft fantail of the Spirit of Plattsburgh. Again, it's a nice gathering spot for people to join together and talk, mingle. Nothing more special to be out here and while we're cruising along. A lot of good times have taken place here by many people over the years.
Have you had a wedding receptions too on the boat?
Oh, we do quite a few weddings each year. As a matter of fact, Plattsburgh, we've already, I believe it's 7 or 8 weddings are booked for next year.
Come on!
Already. People, young brides and grooms have discovered this as being something new, something exciting, and they wanted to have access to Lake Champlain. They recognize the beauty of it, and they're accepting this boat very readily, so we're excited about that.
How big a staff will you have to have on the boat?
We'll go, if we have a party, we'll go with captains to engineers, deckhands, bartenders, waiters, waitresses, cooks. We can go sometime with about 20 people when all those people are aboard.
Got some good shows, some musical shows and comedy shows, and
yes,
a lot of wonderful dinner cruises.
We do an assortment of themed dinners. We have murder mystery dinner cruises, variety show dinner cruises, luau. We have a luau on Monday nights, and we even have lobster. And nothing like lobster on the lake. People enjoy that. Also a variety of brunch, lunch, scenic narrated cruises, and all of those will be available in Plattsburgh beginning in May of 2002.
That's terrific.
So let's go forward, and
All
I'll
right.
show you the inside of the Horizon deck.
Oh, okay.
Here we are right now, our second deck. We have bar service available on this deck also, so that if a party were to be aboard this deck, they can have the privacy of having their own bar and enclosed service, accompanied with bathrooms. We also, I failed to show down below deck, we had bathrooms on the lower deck, and we have bathrooms on the second deck. Very important for accommodating people.
You can have a separate party here.
Yes, we can have a separate party here.
Oh.
Again, a very similar look to this deck. Meals are served buffet style. We didn't have anything up here today, but this is set up if we were to have a buffet. It's all set and ready to go.
Is the season over now?
Oh yes, this was our last cruise.
Oh, it was. This was it.
This was not only the last cruise for the spirit of Ethan Allen, but it was our last cruise of the year. So this boat goes to bed. When we shut the engines off, she's abed for the year. So,
we kind of felt as though this was a kind of an historic moment today.
yes, it was. There's a lot of the crew know what's going on. I invited our crew on to share the moment, and they are very excited to be a part of it today.
You've obviously surrounded yourself with some pretty darn good people, and that helps when you're launching into a venture like this to have the right people working for you.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Yes, it is. It's very important. People are is what this business is all about. I can bring in the pieces of steel and equipment and etc., but it's all about people. People, when they come out to have a good time, want to be surrounded by people who want to put on a good time. And that's what we have here. It's always been what we call our spirit attitude. We have it here, and we're going to be bringing that to Plattsburgh.
They're going to be doing some real building over there in Plattsburgh, aren't they? They're not only cleaning that area out, but they'll be... is there going to be a snack bar, a ticket booth, or what are they going to build over there?
Well, right now, the city of Plattsburgh is building they just finished constructing a seawall, 150-foot seawall where the juniper used to tie up. And they're going to then be getting some grading of the area, building, they're going to have a 40-car parking area, lighting, putting in picnic tables, swings, so the public can come down and enjoy the beautiful vistas, make it nice access to the public. The city is also going to be putting in an office, ticket booth, kitchen area for us, right dockside. So everything will be convenient for the people to come down to enjoy a waterfront experience, not just with us, but right in our good neighbors next door at the Naked Turtle, so they can have a waterfront time to spend down there, have something to eat, and go for a boat ride.
Hopefully everybody will work very hard to promote this enterprise of yours, from the Chamber of Commerce to the City of Plattsburgh to those friends and neighbors who call their kin out west somewhere or down south somewhere. It'll take a unified effort, I think, to make this thing fly.
Yes, it will. And, you know, people, everybody has somebody that comes to visit them. You mentioned kin out down south and out west. We all have friends that come visit and they say, well, what's there to do? One of the greatest natural, or I believe it's the greatest natural asset we have, is Lake Champlain. And now Plattsburgh will have a way to get people out on the lake if somebody doesn't own their own boat or have an access readily available to them. We'll offer that access to them so they can showcase the lake. Somebody can come and learn a little bit about the lake with our scenic narrated tours, some of the history, geology, and facts. And with that, walk away with a little bit of knowledge of the area.
Well, you've been doing it for a while, and that helps, right?
Yes.
It gives you a little advantage to know what you might expect, but there are still a few unknown quantities in there.
There's a lot of unknown qualities. We're discovering new things every day, but nothing has dissuaded me to not continue full speed ahead. The mayor, the city officials, and the citizens are 100% behind it, and I'm 100% bringing this boat ready to go and be a big part of the city's efforts to bring some more revitalization to it, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Have you already started to make brochures for next year, or is that already done? Or?
Oh yes, no, well they're not done, but they are being put together. We do have our schedule. It's all made out. We have a website, and we just started to enter some of that in there. But the schedule will be out in print form right after the first of the year. But anybody looking to book a charter of private cruise for themselves or their company or something, they can call us now and we can take care of that for them anytime.
That's terrific. Well, you have to plan ahead.
Yeah, you have to plan ahead because a lot of dates are sold out and they get sold out rather quickly. So let's, how about, you want to go up to the Sky Deck, which is one of our most popular decks of
Let's do it. Yeah, here we are, at the top of the world, huh?
That's right, top of the world of the Spirit of Plattsburgh. This is our Sky Deck, on a beautiful sunny day like today. And we had quite a few people during this cruise today. We're sitting up here enjoying some of the last warm days of the season.
Isn't it nice to feel that warm wind? It could have been 40 degrees instead of 60 today,
It could have been, so we really lucked out. We're really happy. This deck, just to give you an idea of what goes on, we can seat about 200 people on this deck. On a warm, beautiful day, everybody loves to come aboard up here. We have a beverage services available up here, and the people can hear our narration as we talk about, again, some of the geology, history, and facts of Lake Champlain.
I think it's important to do that, too. On the Juniper, Captain Frank Pabst always talked about the history of Lake Champlain as you drive around, and with so many visitors, it's a good way to promote our area and to get the families to plan their vacations. We keep saying that we want the Lake Champlain region to be a tourist destination, and this is bound to help.
And we feel the same way. If people have a little bit of knowledge, and so many people today are seeking some of the history and facts of an area, that this is an outlet for them to gain that information. Frank Pabst is legendary with his narrations and stories of lake wrecks, battles, and he's a historian of Lake Champlain.
This is really terrific out here today. Calvin mentioned that we should talk a little bit about the day-to-day routine of what the Spirit of Plattsburgh is going to be like when it gets on the other side of the lake. You will be going out more than once, almost every day?
Yes, we'll be having scenic narrated cruises at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 and 4. They'll last an hour and a half. Then in the evening, 7 days a week, we will have our host of murder mysteries, variety shows, lobster on the lake dinner cruises, as well as our luau and our famous Captain's Buffet dinner cruise. Those all begin about mid-June for the evening themed dinner cruises.
We talked about the lake level earlier today and how low it's been lately. Is this going to affect you in any way?
No, this boat is designed pretty much to fit anywhere in Lake Champlain that we need to go. It's got a relatively shallow draft, but yet a very stable beam, so we're able to get in and around and make for a smooth, comfortable ride. But no, it doesn't really affect us. We know where the low spots are and we just avoid them.
I think many people will go out with small pleasure crafts and sailboats in Lake Champlain are used to fairly good weather, but you and I have both seen some pretty wild waves. And we had some pretty good whitecaps out there earlier today, but that's no problem for a boat this size, right?
Not a bit. It's this boat's very stable and makes for a very luxurious cruise.
Mike, are you flying anymore?
Every once in a while, I'll jump aboard and grab an airplane and just go for flight. My brother's got one. He's a captain for UPS, and we'll jump in his private plane. He keeps it hangared up in Swanton and just go for a ride.
You don't have your own plane?
I used to, but not anymore. Doing boating right now.
Oh, you're into boating.
I'm into boating. But would
land to sea and air.
That's right.
Okay.
Would you like to go into the pilot house?
I would love to. Let's do it. I'll follow you right in, and Calvin will be right behind. Oh boy, this is the best.
Yep. This is the helm or the wheel for the Spirit of Plattsburgh.
A little bit different than the one we handed over today, right?
That was our ceremonial helm that we had the mayor of Burlington hand over to the mayor of Plattsburgh. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. This is the captain's spends his day up here providing a safe, comfortable cruise for our guests aboard the Spirit of Plattsburgh.
Are the narrations mostly recorded, or does somebody do those live, or how does that work?
We have both. They are recorded. The captain's attention quite often is on providing a safe cruise. So we have some recorded ones, and we also at times will give a live narration. It depends on what the customer is looking for. If they're looking for a little more in-depth, then we'll go into our live narration. The captains are capable of doing that. But generally it's a set narration that we've picked out the highlights and focus on those highlights in our presentation.
Oh, if people are interested in learning more, I know a lot of people are on the internet now. How do they find your website?
Our website is soea.com, and of course that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and feel free to go look at it again. In terms of what we have there, we've just finished our sailing season as we are speaking here. That'll be updated to reflect the changes of the Spirit of Plattsburgh very shortly.
Well, I'll tell you, this is an incredible experience to come over here today. We like to think that every one of these programs called Our Little Corner is a little slice of history. We like to see what it's going to be like when these programs are shown back in a couple of years, or 5 years, or 10 years. It's pretty easy for you and me to look into the future today and hope for success, but I think after viewing the enthusiasm that we had on board, the Spirit of Ethan Allen and then the Spirit of Plattsburgh today, I think you have to win.
I hope so. I feel that way. That's why I'm going ahead. Everything that I've seen has been positive, upbeat, and the city of Plattsburgh has been straightforward with me, receptive, and they have a vision over there. And it's not to just stay as is. They're trying to, as a community, build itself for the 21st century, I guess we're in here.
Isn't it incredible?
It is incredible. So
I heard some little kids talking the other day and saying to their parents, "Oh, that's so 20th century." And for people my age, that sounds so funny.
Yes. But people still love, in our first year in the new millennium, people were still loving to be on Lake Champlain, just as they were in the old millennium. So I don't think people's affection that we all have for water is ever going to change. I think people are magnetized towards water and are drawn to it and always will be.
Of course, we got Champy here and Champ on Lake Champlain. It would be nice if he'd show up about every third week, wouldn't it? Huh?
We'd love that. That would really draw a lot of people to the area. It does now. The television, of course, has done some documentaries about Champ. There's been many expeditions over here looking for him, and they put together some television pieces. And so there are people who specifically come to this region looking for Champ. They want to share in that mystique.
We've said it many times today, but we have to reiterate it before we leave, that this is a very special body of water. Very special body of water. It does attract us like a magnet. Those people who live here and work on it every day never cease to be amazed at what this lake looks like and what it feels like when you're on it and in it.
You're absolutely correct. we have people here over the years I've seen, and we've sort of like a little chamber of commerce when you're in this business, and you greet people, you welcome them, they ask you what to do, and they just sometimes absolutely stop what they're doing and just look at what they're looking at and are amazed at what they're seeing. They've never seen anything so beautiful and didn't realize it was so close by to them in just being a few hour drive away, or if somebody has flown in from another part of the world, they just don't realize the natural beauty that we have here on Lake Champlain.
And unfortunately, there are an awful lot of people who don't get an opportunity or don't take an opportunity to go out on Lake Champlain, because what this does is offer an entirely different perspective, and especially in the summertime. And so I would urge people who haven't made plans to come on this boat or some other on Lake Champlain to get out here, see what it's like from the water looking at the shore.
And you'll be amazed. It's just really a special place. There's no place like it. I'm proud to say that I live up here and work and spend my life on Lake Champlain, and I think everybody else will find that coming here is really, truly unique and special.
I noticed, I was very pleased to see you introduce your parents today. It was nice to have them on board, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was very special and rewarding. They've encouraged me to do many different things, and they were part of the original spirit of Ethan Allen back in the mid-'80s, and have given me encouragement to try new things, and starting when I was a little boy and right up to today, they're still my parents and guiding me.
You've been a lot of places, but isn't it neat to come back home?
Yes, it is. I love it here. I wouldn't leave.
We love it here too. We want to thank you so much for inviting us over here today. For Calvin and me, it's a real pleasure, a new kind of experience, a groundbreaking experience,
Yes.
if you will, to see this wonderful marriage, because we have promoted this cooperation and collaboration between Burlington and Plattsburgh and Saint Jean, Quebec, and other areas in this greater Lake Champlain region for such a long time. And all I can say before we leave today, it's about darn time, Michael.
Yeah, it is. It is darn time, and the time is just a few months away as we look at it. Let's see, May is 5. We're 7 months away from being in Plattsburgh. So
I love it.
We're looking forward to it.
We can't wait. We're going to wrap up this show in the parking lot and wish you all a great day from the spirit of Plattsburgh. Well, we've covered the waterfront. I don't know what's left unless it's our world tour. Hometown Cable in our little corner has really gone to different lengths and different corners over the last 4 years, and I must say the entire time has been a pleasure for me and for Calvin. This is not to say that there won't be many more programs in the future. Our special thanks to Mike Shea and his entire staff on the Spirit of Plattsburgh for inviting us to this side of the lake today. For the mayors that were here, for those people in the support staff, not only for this tour boat, but for the governments and businesses and citizens and chambers of commerce and development organizations from both sides of the lake. It certainly is a big kick, because you have been watching history being made here today. Not only with the Spirit of Ethan Allen II making an amazing metamorphosis into the Spirit of Plattsburgh and planning for a wonderful, glorious year on Lake Champlain on the American side of, not the American side, on the New York side of Lake Champlain, but the Spirit of Ethan Allen III, which arrived today in that nice meeting out on Lake Champlain, albeit a little foreshortened because it had to come up through the locks today. They're planning what they hope is a glorious campaign on the Burlington side of Lake Champlain. And yes, on the Canadian side of Lake Champlain, we hope many people come down through the Richelieu to visit us during the coming months, and we promise, as we've done several times before, to help promote your reason by making visits north of the border as well. Thank you very much for watching our little corner. If you have ideas, Calvin and myself would love to hear from them. If you'd like to purchase copies of this recording or any other program we've done over the years, Calvin can accommodate you if you look in your phone book and dial Hometown Cable, 2 different words. He's on the Ridge Road in Champlain. If you are a large or small business and you would like to show your support by underwriting, part of what we do because we love to do it here in the North Country, contact Calvin, and we'd appreciate all the help we can get. And you know how I always end it. Well, Calvin almost ended it when he got wet there. But who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.